Hey everyone, welcome back to Guitars, Whiskey, and Golf. My name is Brian. I hope you think about liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel for more whiskey reviews like this. So what do we got today? We've got Old Elk Port Cask Finish. So there's a lot to unpack with this whiskey. There's a lot going on here. So first of all, the juice in this bottle is MGP, is distillate from MGP. We're all familiar with MGP. It's aged approximately 5 years by MGP. Then Old Elk gets a hold of it and ages it for about another year in port cask barrels. So we've got a secondary finish going on after the initial aging process that MGP does. So that's not the only unusual thing. So not only do we have a port cask finish here, but the mash bill on this whiskey, on this bourbon, is 51% corn. So it's just meeting the legal limit for bourbon. Then it's 35% malted barley and then 15% rye. So that is a complete flip. Normally you would have, maybe 70, 75% corn. You might have 15 or so percent rye, and then a much smaller percentage of malted barley. This is 51% corn, so barely a bourbon, and then 35% on the malted barley. So that does some really, really interesting things to the flavor, in my opinion, and changes it completely and makes it very unique. Between the port cask finish and the mash bill having 35% malted barley, this is a really different whiskey. So let's get into the nosing of it. So right off the bat, right now, I am getting some brown sugar and a little bit of caramel. But there's a dark berry note, like a maybe almost like a blackberry. It's malty. There's also a real woody characteristic to it, but it's not oaky. I've had a couple of sips off of this and I've nosed it a couple of times, and it has a woody aroma. And on the palate, I'll get into that as well. It also has a woody kind of sensation on the palate, but it's not oaky. It's really interesting. Definite brown sugar coming through hard right now. I'm definitely getting barley grain, almost like some raisin and brown sugar for sure. Um, there's almost, like I said, there's like a dark berry note that you almost get on like red wine. So overall, the nose is very nice. I really like the nose. Dark berry, almost kind of deep red winey kind of a nose. Like I said, malty, woody, and then some, caramel, brown sugar, almost like a dark raisin kind of element to it. Let's get into the palate. Cheers. Chocolate, definitely getting some kind of like chocolate, almost like chocolate raspberry. If you have like a candy that mixes chocolate with a little bit of raspberry, there's some spice. It has a really nice mouthfeel. It's very coating, oily. I can't help but taste some elements in this that are similar to scotch. I don't know whether it's psychological or not. That's the thing with tasting. Because of the very, very high malted barley content, and as you know, scotch is malted barley, fermented malted barley. The mash bill in scotch is generally, the grain is barley. And so I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised how much this is coming across on the palate to me, very scotch like. little bit of tobacco kind of element to it. Maybe a touch of black licorice. So overall, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of raspberry, spicy. Again, it's woody, but it's not oaky. I'm not getting oak. It's weird. I can't identify the wood because you don't generally eat and taste different types of wood. But we all know what oak smells like and tastes like based on our experiences with bourbons and ryes. And this just does not have that oaky element. So the proof point, by the way, is 108.1. So we've got a great proof point. Good maturation at 5 years, plus the secondary finish in the port. The port definitely shines through, comes through in kind of a red wine kind of an aspect. I think the raisin and the sort of a dark berry note are all related to the port. And then the mash bill, the barley content, just changes the character and nature. This is very, very malty and very, very, in my opinion, Scotch-like. So what do I think of it? I really like it. It's very different, and that's one of the things I like about it. I'm huge into variety. I'm not a bourbon drinker, and I, just give me my caramels and brown sugars, and I'm good. No, I want layers of flavors, and I like bourbons, I like ryes, I like high rye bourbon. I like bourbons that have a big fruit component or spicy or sweet. I like all of these things. So I never pigeonhole myself into one kind of whiskey or one kind of bourbon that I prefer. So having said that, I like this. I think this is really good. It retails for about 80 bucks. It's not cheap. I don't think though this is for everyone. For the casual bourbon drinker, who is just really looking for all those caramels and brown sugars, that is here, but there's a lot of other elements going on that you may or may not like. The maltiness, the barley component, the woody character of it that is not necessarily oaky. The Scotch kind of a flavor to it. I'm really enjoying it. So, to wrap this up, again, I don't think this is for everyone. I think this is a really, really good bourbon, a really good whiskey. It's really different, though. If you're looking for something really different, this could be right up your alley. If you've tried scotches like Macallan 12 or Belveni Doublewood, and you like those and you've developed a taste for those types of scotches, then I think you'll be all over this and you'll love it. If you've tried scotches in the past and you've tried to develop a taste for it and you just can't get there with scotch, then I would say this is not for you. Don't spend your money because it's 80 bucks. So don't spend 80 bucks chasing something that's not in your flavor profile. So I hope that helps. I hope you'll think about liking, commenting, and subscribing, like I said, for more whiskey reviews like this. And until then, take care, everyone. Thanks for joining Guitars, Whiskey, and Golf.